City Council meeting for September the 2nd, 2014 is hereby called to order. May we have roll call, please?
Alderman Brumman.
Here.
Alderman Easterly.
Present.
Alderman Stout.
Here.
Alderwoman Walker. Present. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Brown.
Here.
Alderman Mays.
Here.
Alderman Hope.
Here.
Thank you. Each of you have a copy of the minutes from August the 18th.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that the minutes for August the 18th, 2014 be approved as presented. Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to committee reports, starting with Ways and Means. Alderman Brummett.
Yes, Mayor, the Ways and Means Committee met prior to the meeting. There are two budget adjustments in your packet that we're going to hold off till the next meeting to get additional information before we consider them. We do have an issue that we need to approve. Last week, several members of the council attended a hearing in federal court concerning the James Scott Moore versus City of Pine Bluff lawsuit. The portion that the city is obligated to pay to settle the case is $2,250. I'd like to move that we authorize the city to pay our portion of $2,250 to settle this case.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that a settlement be entertained by the council, Scott Moore versus the City of Pine Bluff, to pay the 10% that the city is responsible for, which amounts to $2,250. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Terms of the settlement. Make a motion to agree to the terms of the settlement.
Okay. Ms. Hedden asked us to also, I'd like to amend that to say that we agree to the terms of the settlement involved with settling the case.
Okay. It's been properly moved and second that we agree to the terms of the settlement as in the case that was presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I move that we pay the bills that the city owes.
It's been properly moved and second that the bills for the city be paid. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That concludes Ways and Means, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Ordinances and resolutions. Alderman Brummett.
Yes, Mayor, the Ordinance Resolutions Committee met prior to the meeting. On the items on the agenda, number 1 will be read for the second reading. 2 will be the second reading. 3 will be up for the first reading and will be referred to committee. 4 through 7 will be resolutions that we will review. And that concludes the report.
Okay, thank you, sir. Economic and Community Development, Alderwoman Walker.
No report.
Thank you, ma'am. Public Health and Welfare, Alderman Holcomb.
Public Health and Welfare met on Wednesday, August the 27th at 11 a.m. Mayor, we discussed two ordinance. Ordinance number 1, vote with a do pass. Ordinance number 2 was voted with a do not pass to bring to the council. That concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Public Works, Alderman Mays.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. We didn't have a meeting. I just wanted to get an update on the resolution we had passed about the boundaries, getting those redone, where we at. I think the resolution read that we didn't want we wanted a third party to do it, and just wanted to kind of update on that for the citizens. Our city boundaries are in danger of being filtered in by the city of Whitehall government, which is a big issue. If we don't stop this issue by 2016, a lot of that 71602 zip code will be annexed in from Whitehall to increase their population. And that's going on all around the state. We had a resolution that passed to update our boundaries. And that's what we have been given direction by the Arkansas Geographic Information Office, that a lot of cities will try to annex property in the year 2016 and going through 18. And it says this, it says the city maps need to be updated and accurate as possible, and it needs to be digital. City boundaries are challenging to maintain in the state database, partly because of the volume. For calendar year 2011, 49 cities filed annexation records that changed their boundary, which resulted in the change of the state maps. And it also says, we anticipate that in the approach to the 2020 census, a number of cities will annex areas in order to increase their population, beginning in 2016, lasting through 2018. Our city we in danger of losing at least 10,000 people to the city of Whitehall because of that 71602 zip code embedded in the Dollarway area. It's a serious matter, and we aim to cut it off. And once we get our boundaries go, if you cross the Dollarway and Jefferson Parkway line, all the Jefferson Parkway on our original boundaries are in Pine Bluff. If you cross that Jefferson Parkway boundary going into Whitehall, our boundary lines cut between that Honda place and an insurance company on that corner. Where that Welcome to Whitehall sign is, that's Pine Bluff. If you go on 270 into Whitehall in that plaza, our boundary lines cut right behind that plaza. What's been happening over the years is the city of Whitehall has been, or somebody has been moving our boundary lines back, our city boundaries lines back, and we don't fix it, we're gonna have a major problem going into the year 2020. I'm letting the residents of Pine Bluff know. Some say the zip code don't matter. That's already, it's fabricated as I'll say, as a lie. It matters. You have people in Whitehall, in Pine Bluff now, that some people are saying that they're living in, Pine Bluff don't exist in the Dollarway area. Whitehall has got all the way up to 6th Street by Carmart. Just letting you all know. And it's serious business to the city of Pine Bluff. We don't want to wake up and lose our whole city. I love Pine Bluff. I don't have anything against Whitehall. It's just the idea of how they're doing business. They need to learn how to increase their population by building it one person at a time instead of taking the city of Pine Bluff population. And I'm not going to stop until it's out of here and we get our own zip code. And you got my word on that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Development and Planning, Alderman Boyd is not here. Traffic and Aviation, Alderman Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't especially have a report. However, I would like to ask the people of Pine Bluff to think what would happen if you lived here. What would Pine Bluff be if you lived here? What would Pine Bluff be if you invested here? What would Pine Bluff be if you raised your kids here? And what would Pine Bluff be if you said positive things about Pine Bluff? What would Pine Bluff be if we helped our kids not to commit crimes? What would Pine Bluff be? And I just want to say that because I love Pine Bluff so much, I just don't want us going down the wrong road all the time. Thank you.
Administration, Alderman Steps.
Mayor, I don't have a report. We will have an administration meeting at 10 o'clock on September the 11th. I just have one little statement. On last week, there was a Pine Bluff citizen that was approached by the mayor of Whitehall. And his property was on the Pine Bluff side. And according to him, he said the mayor came and told him, how would you like to be in Whitehall? Said, your zip code push you in here. Said, if you say yes, all we have to do is annex you in. See, that's one of the things that if they're going to begin to recruit, and I believe, and this was the thing that was concerning me initially. I don't know if we're going to be jumping on leaps and bounds by 10,000. I'm not saying that. But I do know there's some activities that's taking place concerning this zip code. And the mayor of Whitehall has become active in his efforts, especially the people right on that, close to that boundary line. Mayor, I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Public Safety, Alderman Easterly.
Yes, Mayor. Public Safety met at 4:30 this afternoon, and reports from the fire and police departments. On the, our fire report shows that calls are down from last month by 17 calls. And also that the, up to this date for the year, for training hours, the department has put in 28,769.5 hours in training so far this year. And in the police report shows that overall crime from this month last year at this time was down about almost 11%, from 658 calls down to 583 total. So that's each month is showing a drop from last year's statistics. So anyway, we'd like to applaud both of our public safety departments for what they do and working for the people of Pine Bluff. That concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Okay, moving on to ordinances and resolutions. Alderman Brummett.
Yes, Mayor, we have an ordinance requiring that all city contracts contain a provision requiring the contractor to make good faith efforts to hire local firms to help perform the contract work, and further requiring the contractor document its efforts for inspection by the city. Up for the second reading.
An ordinance requiring that all city contracts contain a provision requiring the contractor to make good faith efforts to hire local firms to help perform the contract work, and further requiring the contractor document its efforts for inspection by the city.
Place it on the calendar. We have an ordinance amending 16-1 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, to provide for new and additional tools to remediate public nuisance and hazardous structures and related purposes. Up for the second reading.
An ordinance amending 16-1 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, to provide for new and additional tools to remediate public nuisances and hazardous structures and related purposes.
We'll place it on the calendar. We have an ordinance permitting the city to do business with Class A apparel. Up for the first reading.
Whereas Class A apparel is owned by Melissa Johnson of the Pine Bluff Police Department, and whereas it is desired to permit city departments and personnel to do business with Class A apparel on the same terms and conditions that departments and personnel transact business with other entities of the same nature in the market, and whereas Arkansas Code Section 1442-107B requires the governing body of the city by ordinance to authorize the city to do business with an entity owned by a city employee and prescribe the conditions under which the business may be conducted. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, that the departments of the city are authorized and permitted to transact business with Class A apparel owned by Melissa Johnson, a city employee, under the same terms and conditions that the departments transact business with other entities of the same nature in the markets. Section 2, this ordinance, not being of a general or permanent nature, it need not be published by the clerk and shall take effect at the time it is approved.
This needs to be sent to committee. Should it go to Ways and Means or Administration? What do y'all think? Ways and Means? Ways and Means. The city attorney says she recommends Ways and Means, so we'll refer it to the Ways and Means Committee for their review. Okay. We have a resolution providing for placement of cost of correcting certain nuisance on tax books as delinquent taxes and collected as such.
Whereas ACA Section 1454903 and ordinances
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution providing for placement of cost of correcting certain nuisance on tax books as delinquent taxes and collected as such. Floor is now open for discussion.
There's
Here.
somebody on that committee.
Go ahead. Is there somebody here on Planning Development Committee to make a recommendation to remove these?
Yes, I'll do it.
Okay.
Recommend that we remove the ones on the list.
Okay. There's not a list. That's not on this list, is it?
It wasn't in the packet.
They've all been paid in, they've already been, forward that's been paid in full.
Okay.
Hey, no, man.
Okay.
They already paid them.
Did you second it?
I make a motion.
Second.
Oh, you got it, okay.
Okay.
Steve made the motion. Alderman Mays made the motion. Alderman Stepp seconded.
On the amend and pulling these off?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, a motion has been made and properly second that the list as presented, the amended list presented to be removed from the resolution. Floor is open for discussion.
You know, I won't interrupt that. I had a comment to make, but it doesn't have anything to do with that. So it does, but it doesn't.
Okay.
So I'll let the process go on.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Move
Yeah.
for the original as amended.
Okay. A motion has been made for the original as amended to be approved. Floor is now open for discussion.
Well, Mayor, one thing that this doesn't really have anything to do with this particular resolution, but we are trying to clean up the city of demolishing houses and this type thing. But in the meantime, we are not doing anything so to help the people to fix the houses. Now, we passed a resolution where a person could get a license, and it was structured by Mr. Childress. And the inspection, they were, in fact, they said that it was very good, and that it would help because it would cut down on the fees that a person went in to get when they got a license. And it passed by the council. But when one of the contractors went down to get a license, they were told, no, it shouldn't be, and that they had to pay a different fee, even though it had been passed by the council. So, and I asked you to look into that.
You want me to look into that?
Yes.
Okay.
Because, see, that is keeping people from fixing houses. These people went in to get a license, so they could start fixing their houses. And they were told a different thing from what the law said.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Is that to be corrected? Is that to be corrected?
Yes, I'm sure it will.
Okay.
Because
Just
the
wanna
law
make
is
sure
there.
it's noted that we'd like for that to be corrected.
Okay, number 5.
Mayor, we have a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Arkansas Department of Community Correction to facilitate remediation of public nuisance.
Whereas to foster a program of reintegration of offenders into society via education and training, the Arkansas Department of Community Correction proposes to assist the city in the remediation of properties which have been declared public nuisances by the City Council at no cost to the city. And whereas the program will be funded by a grant from the Arkansas Economic Development Commission, will involve the private sector, and will be the first of its kind in the state. And whereas the city finds that the program is in the city's best interest and desires to participate in the program and to enter an agreement with ACC to do so. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, that the mayor is authorized and directed to execute a memorandum of understanding with ACC to facilitate the remediation of public nuisances in the city. The city clerk shall attest the mayor's signature as needed. Section 2, the mayor is authorized to execute additional documents needed to effect the purposes of the program as regards the city, and to undertake and do such actions as needed for the city to fulfill its responsibilities as agreed.
Move for adoption.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Arkansas Department of Community Correction to facilitate remediation of public nuisance. Floor is now open for discussion. Yes, sir.
Thank you for now, thank you. 'Cause this is just the initial talk. This was passed out, is this a part of it?
Yeah, this was a correction. I had talked to the city attorney this afternoon, and, well, early in the day, and they made a correction where it taken the lien part, it crossed out the lien part for the ACC, but the city reserves the right to impose a lien for the collection of administrative fees and costs associated with said property. So the city can, but ACC can.
And that money goes back in the city, where does that money go?
For the administrative cost, it goes back to the general funds.
Okay, now, there's one other thing. Even though it hasn't taken place, if we vote for it tonight, but there's still gonna be a problem with what house is gonna be torn down. We're gonna have that problem. I don't know, was this a time to discuss it or not, but we're gonna have, where do you start first and where do you go second or third or fourth or fifth? I don't know whether it's proper tonight to just bring it up, but I know there's gonna be a problem. We do have to iron that out somewhere along the line. I don't know if this agreement says it or not. Does it, Ms. Walker? Because I didn't get a chance to
Talk about how
get a
to
total
select the
understanding of
house.
it. But
No.
we're gonna have a problem with that. And,
It doesn't, but it does say that there will be, here in number 4, I believe it is. No, that's not it.
Performance of work?
No, that's not it. There is a portion in here where there will be an assignment of someone from the city.
Number 7.
Number 7, from the city. And so I don't know whether that will come under planning and development or inspection, maybe planning and development.
Can we be
because-
allowed to break this down later? If it does pass, let's talk.
Well, yeah, because this will be worked out later.
Okay.
The part,
I just wanted to know in case it passed. I wanted to make sure that, I just didn't sit there and say nothing when time comes, and we don't know how we're gonna distribute this, how we're gonna break this. We're gonna assign this house or that house. I want to make sure that we got this straight.
but I think the ACC will, that they will appoint someone, and the city will appoint someone, that they will communicate together.
Any other questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I had another question also about the liens. Now, will that be a fixed price for administration or variable? I mean, administration is administration cost.
Well, the administrative cost has to do with the sending out the green cards and the legal notices. That's the administrative cost, and which might be anywhere up to $35, $45, $50.
That's my understanding, it's just a fixed rate on it. I mean, it all should be the same because it's the same paperwork.
Not necessarily, no. It varies.
Another thing, Alderwoman Walker brought up a while ago, we tearing down houses, and for some reason, our citizens should be able to help restore some of the houses. It seems like a lot of things that we do is to stop people from building. But it's easy to tear something down. I mean, that's always have been easy. But if we can give our citizens, may need to put that ordinance, Alderman Walker, back into committee and study that again so we can help our citizens, the ones that want to work on their property. I think it's a good thing to have carpenter skills and use them, electrical skills and use them, plumbing skills and use them. And we need to make sure that our citizens can do that. Once again, a lot of things that we do is to stop people. I'm all about letting people have their way and doing things with their skills. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, may we have roll call, please?
Alderman Brumman?
Before we go there, please let me say this. In looking at this ordinance, resolution, we've had people from the very low west side that have made complaints, and I thought we was trying to correct those complaints or those, whatever their interest was. I hope that we have satisfied that. And I would like for those people and anybody that has a negative to this to try to understand where we are as a city. We cannot afford to give up help to help us. Somebody's gonna help us. And if we give up some help to help us, then we're helpless. So we're gonna try to channel this thing in the right direction, but we cannot say no to help when we need help. Thank you.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderman Brummett.
Aye.
Alderman Easterly. Alderman Steph.
Aye.
Alderman Walker.
Aye.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Alderman Mays.
Aye.
Alderman Hope.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Number 6.
Mayor, we have a resolution authorizing acquisition of a full-color digital book scanner by the city clerk's office and directing preparation of a budget adjustment to fund this acquisition.
Whereas the city clerk's office is in the depository of multiple categories of official city records, including all legislation, contracts, etc., which are required by law to be maintained for reference and historical purpose. And whereas these records include documents from the 1860s and other eras which are of great historical value and require preservation. And whereas in order to efficiently fulfill the responsibilities to maintain the records, particularly with regard to the limitation of space and the increasing volume of documents for maintenance, the clerk's office is in need of a full-color digital book scanner. And whereas due to the anticipated expense of between $30,000 and $35,000 for the acquisition of the device, competitive bidding will be required. And whereas the clerk's office lacks the funds in its budget to purchase the device, and the finance department in coordination with the clerk's office should prepare a budget adjustment at the appropriate time to finance the acquisition of the item. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, the city clerk's office is authorized to acquire the full-color digital book scanner by competitive bidding. The finance department in coordination with the clerk's office will prepare a budget adjustment after the bids are received and the most responsible bidder identified to finance the acquisition of the scanner.
Move for adoption.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution authorizing acquisition of a full-color digital book scanner by the city clerk's office and directing preparation of a budget adjustment to fund the acquisition. Floor is now open for discussion.
Mayor, I have a question. My question was this. I called City Clerk Ms. Whitfield last week and asked her, this is what the Arkansas Geographic Information Office is talking about. Now, I don't know if this will work or not, putting our annexations and our boundary lines digital. I'm praying that it'll go that far, because that's what they're saying, it needs to be digital in order to keep up with this stuff. But this is something totally different here, what we're trying to do here. Put a lot of older material on a digital disc for the future. But my question was, can we put our maps and our boundaries on there and use them on a TV screen to show our citizens our boundary lines now and into the future? Because we're going to need that in order to keep Whitehall zip code, that 71602 zip code, out of the city of Pine Bluff, which is a serious issue. Can anybody answer that?
Well, I think if it can be done, I'm sure Ms. Whitfield will do it.
But it's a good thing to have everything digital. That way it updates everything, it makes everything accurate going into the future. That's what we need.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, we have a resolution authorizing execution of a contract with Graves and Associates Incorporated for work on the Gwen Buckingham Drive Street and Drainage Improvement Project, authorizing payment to McClendon Consulting Engineers for services on the project, authorizing payment to Energy Arkansas for relocation of power lines, and appropriating funds for this project.
Whereas after solicitation for and receipt of bids pertaining to the work on Gwen Buckingham Street and Drainage Improvement Project, the firm of Graves and Associates Incorporated of Pine Bluff submitted the most responsible bid for the job. And whereas it is desired to execute an agreement with Graves and Associates Incorporated to perform the work for the consideration in the bid and on the terms consistent with the bid specifications and standard in the field for the project. And whereas there is a need for consulting engineering services to be provided by McClellan Consulting Engineers who have been involved with and are familiar with the project. And whereas there is a need for Energy Arkansas to relocate power lines as part of the project requiring payment for this service. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1. The mayor is authorized to execute an agreement with Graves Associates Incorporated of Pine Bluff, Arkansas to perform the work relating to the Gwen Buckingham Street and Drainage Improvement Project and for the consideration set forth in its bid of $214,565 and on the terms set forth in the bid specifications and otherwise standard work of the same nature in the field. The city clerk shall attest the mayor's signature if needed. Section 2. There is authorized a sum of $45,989.12 to be paid to McClellan Consulting Engineers for its professional services on the project. Section 3, there is further authorized a sum of $29,244.47 for the payment to Energy Arkansas for necessary relocation of power lines affected by the project. Section 4, there is hereby appropriated the sum of $289,798.59 from the bond proceeds backed by the 5/8 cent tax dedicated to drainage improvements to defray the cost of the project. Section 5, the appropriated funds will be expended in the installments or terms consistent with the agreements between the city and the aforesaid entities and as the work progresses to the satisfaction of the city.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution authorizing execution of a contract with Graves and Associates Incorporated for work on the Gwen Buckingham Drive Street and Drainage Improvement Project, authorizing payment to McClellan Consulting Engineers for services on the project, authorizing payment to Energy Arkansas for relocation of power lines, and appropriating funds for the project. Floor is now open for discussion.
Yes, Mayor. This is a good project. It's in the Fourth Ward. I was over there the other day. It's a lot of progress is going on. A lot of good positive progress is going on. You get a chance, you go look at it. They got new dirt smoothed out, a lot of dust over there, a lot of tractors being moved. Like it's supposed to be all over town. I mean, that's what we're headed to. We're going to have to.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, before we go, I had Joe to draw up an ordinance amending the 2014 annual budget to create a line item for housing rehabilitation, designating an amount for the line item and related purposes. We talked about, I'm asking that we designate $500,000 to rehab in houses. And I did it for this reason. We voted to tear down some houses, which I think is going to be good. But what's going to happen, a raggedy house on property brings in more tax dollars than a piece of land. Sooner or later, when you tear down a lot of these houses, it's going to diminish the tax revenues for the schools. And they'll be right back with millage increases. And I happen to be looking at some of the houses that have been torn down. The foundation was solid, and some of those houses was in good shape and could have been salvaged. And I thought it would be fitting that we talked about the last council meeting about putting money in to tear down some houses, but I think we ought to put some money in there to rehab some of these houses. That's why I was asking for this to get on the agenda, that we could vote on this ordinance, even if it's just for the first reading and get back to the committee. But I think it's a good ordinance.
Can I
Okay,
You wanna say something?
Well, Alderman Steps, what are you saying? You want the council to vote to put it on the agenda tonight?
Yes.
Okay,
But Joe just made the one copy. If not tonight, I just want to introduce it, then we could do it. on the next
Okay.
council meeting.
I think so, because no one's had a chance to read it.
Nobody's had a chance to read it, so we'll do it at the next council meeting.
Okay,
Sort of,
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
if I can speak, sort of related to what you're saying, and I agree with those taxes. I've always said that I don't know what we're gonna do because we are tearing down Old Pine Bluff. And I don't know what to say about it. I know there are some houses that should be torn down, and I think that we do need help in that aspect. However, somebody from the city in the inspection department told me sometime back that over a year, you can only tear down one house per block. Am I close?
if it tests hot for asbestos.
Okay, actually, I know it has something to do. I don't have to know it all, but I know just a little bit. So I know it has something to do with that.
A city block.
Okay, so the block.
All right, we'll get on the agenda for the next council.
Okay.
I'm for that. Now, once I go over it, I'd be glad to be a co-sponsor on it,
Okay, that'll be fine.
if you don't mind.
Okay.
Also, keep in mind that, we could wait till you're talking about 2015, right?
Right.
So during the budget process, we can put it in then, or we can do the ordinance, but it still would have to be inserted as part of the 2015 budget. And also, you'd have to define where the money's going to come from. That's
Yeah.
how you want to handle it.
Okay, it's not a problem, you said it, we'll do up, so I'm just riding with you.
All right. The only announcement that we have tonight is next Monday night, which is a week from tonight, we'll be starting back our town hall meetings, which will be at the Pine Bluff Convention Center at 5:30. So we welcome any and all to attend. And with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
So moved. Meeting adjourned.